I should have switched up.
Hey guys, welcome to After the Whistle. I'm your host, Stefan alongside my virtual co-host,
Francesco
and Adam Marazzic.
It is Monday, March 22nd, 2021. Thank you for joining us here on After the Whistle, here on Genesis 360. We got an all right show for you today. We're going to start off like we always do with the Leafs. Got a little bit of a goalie controversy in Toronto. Jack Campbell, can he steal the starting job from Freddie Anderson? That's the biggest headline in the world of the Leafs. We're going to get into that and then get into the train wreck that is the Toronto Raptors and, playing some of the worst basketball of their history, probably. We're also going to talk about the midseason award winners in the NHL. Connor McDavid tearing up the league. Will he be projected to win the Hart Trophy and other trophies? You have to stay tuned to find out. And then Adam's going to take us away with Inside the Batter's Box, like we usually do. But let's start with the Leafs. So good win over the Flames on Saturday. What day is it today? Monday. Saturday. So yeah, it was Saturday. Friday they lost 4-3 Friday. And a lot of the blame was Freddie Anderson, allowing 4 goals on I think 22 shots or something like that. So we all knew that Jack Campbell was going to get the start on the Saturday, and he didn't disappoint. 31 saves for his second straight shutout in as many starts. So I don't know, Francesco, I guess I'll ask you first. Do you think there's a goalie controversy in Toronto?
I wouldn't say it's a controversy. I would say there's just a goalie discussion.
Well, I don't know. I'd probably say there's a controversy because, look, the Leafs were 1-6 in their last 7 games going into that Saturday game. You can't say it's all Freddie Anderson's fault, and we've talked about this on previous shows, but he hasn't been good. He's been very subpar, and he's been part of the problem, a big part of the problem in this recent skid. So, you've had Jack Campbell. I know, the sample size with his work is not that big. He's only played 4 games this season, only 63 games in his career. But in those games that he's played this season, he's been incredible. He has a below 1.5 GAA, 950 save percentage. Like, when he's been called upon this season, he's been incredible. And I think it's time that he gets rewarded now.
See, and that's why I didn't think it's maybe a controversy. I think it's more of a discussion. Just because of the fact that Jack Campbell's had a small sample size, and granted, he has played well when he needs it, but this is a guy that we don't know whether or not he has what it takes to be a full-time starter. He's never played more than 27 games in his career, as a start. So it's still relatively small sample size for the foreseeable future, and by that I mean the next couple of weeks while Freddie is out with his day-to-day. It's going to be Jack Campbell's job, and unless Freddie absolutely comes back and lays a goose egg, come playoff time, it's still going to be Frederik Anderson's net. It's still going to go back to him. That's my personal opinion. It's just that for right now, they're giving Freddie the time he needs to maybe heal. They know they have a competent backup in Jack, so they're letting him roll. But don't get it twisted. He's not starting in the playoffs unless the only caveat is Freddie comes back and he's absolutely in that run to the playoffs. He's still he's absolutely terrible. He's flat out terrible.
Yeah. I think it's going to take a season kind of like what the Habs had with Halak, where Carey Price got hurt and he never quite performed otherwise. And they said, okay, well, we got to bring someone in, bring in their backup, and they rode the hot hand and all in the playoffs, and he surprised everyone. But yeah, no, unless there's a whole big ordeal, Santa Maria kind of thing, where they need to completely reevaluate what's going on. Yeah, I think you're right, Francesco. I think it's Frederik Anderson. But for right now, I'd ride the hot hand and put Campbell in net.
So, Francesco, you're saying that it's not a goalie controversy unless Campbell comes out in the next couple of games and steals the show again.
No, it's not even that. No, because that's what he needs to do. As the backup, that's your job, is to come out, battle, and win games when you're called upon.
Okay, but
the only way it becomes a controversy again is if when Freddie comes back in that first start and he drops an absolute egg again. That's the only time it will become a controversy. Because right now you could argue, granted, I don't know about the argument, but you could say it's because he has been injured. And I saw today him being put on day-to-day. He has been injured. And he's been playing legit minus up until most recently. He played all but 2 games in the season so far. So this guy has seen an incredible amount of workload, not to mention, too, when you have guys like John Tavares, Austin Matthews, William Nylander, Spezza, Thornton at practice that you're facing, getting in those shots and those reps every game, that's a lot. I know that doesn't really come into play, but when you're constantly working that much and seeing shots over and over again, it's going to catch up to you eventually. And for Freddie right now, it has been. He's not been good. Don't get me wrong. He hasn't been good, but is that maybe because of the injury? We can't really say, but that's a big question mark. So they're giving him the time off right now, and if he comes back and he's crap, then we got a little bit of a story.
Yeah, and I agree with what you said about the playoffs because Anderson's being paid to be a starting goalie, so it would seem unfair to just say we're going to throw Jack Campbell into that spot. He's making a league minimum salary or whatever he's making. That's the absolute worst case scenario that he has to go in the playoffs, and that's like you said, that's only if Freddie Anderson is completely, his confidence is done. He just has completely forgotten how to be a goalie. So we're not there yet, but I honestly I hope Anderson figures it out. But I'm excited to see that we have another option. So if you were to look at Jack Campbell, do you think there's any chance that he could be a starter for this team? Let's say the Leafs need to. Freddie Anderson needs a contract extension soon.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe, do you think there's a chance if his play is, as good as it's been up until this point in the season, that he steals that job, Leafs trade Anderson, we have another starting goaltender in Campbell?
You can go.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know because given the small sample size, I still see him. He could come in and completely steal the show, like you said, but I think that makes him just that much stronger of a backup. I think the Leafs, whether they decide to stick with Anderson or whether they decide to test the market, whether that be through trade, free agency, I don't really recall who the free agent goalies are going to be when Anderson's contract's up. But whatever avenue that is, I think whatever Jack Campbell does stays to this season. Same as Halak. I think he's given an amazing opportunity. Whether or not it's a discussion, whether or not it's a debate, I think it's a battle. So I think he's going out. He's going to fight. He sees it as an opportunity, and all the power to him. I think he should take it. But I think this just solidifies himself as a backup until he gets more experience.
Yeah, well, he's 29 years old, so he's. Oh,
I forgot that part.
Yeah, no, he's not old, but he's also
he's not young either.
Yeah, I know he's not young, but he's still young enough where he could make a run for a starting job. Look at a goalie like Tim Thomas. He came out onto the scene at 31 and won a Stanley Cup.
Right.
So it's never too late for a player. So I'm not saying, I'm not writing off that Jack Campbell can be a starter, but we'll have to wait and see because the sample size, like we've said, is still too small at this point.
You know who I'd like to see the Leafs take as their starter? Ayers.
David Ayers? I don't know. Freddie Anderson's playing like David Ayers right now.
Hey, you get a cheap contract.
I think David Ayers is playing better than Anderson right now.
I don't know about that. I don't know about
in his backyard shitty hockey rink.
Well, if we look at the Leafs as a whole, though, right now, they're 20-10-2. Mm-hmm. They're hanging on to that first place in the division just by a thread. But for now, things are very close, and the next couple of weeks are going to be super critical for not only the Leafs but the other teams that are behind them as well. I was looking at the standings this morning, and there's only a 6-point difference between a team that's out of the playoffs, Vancouver, and the Leafs right now. How scary is that? The Leafs lose 3 out of their next 4 games.
I think it's exciting.
They could be out of a playoff spot.
I think it's so exciting. But you know what? That's what we knew coming into the Northern Division, right? We knew it was going to be wild. We knew who was going to kind of fight for those main spots, but you never really know who could sneak in a division like this.
Yeah, you got Montreal. They're starting to play better now.
Yeah,
Edmonton is destroying the league. Connor McDavid is going crazy. Vancouver's starting to play better. They're a 500 team now. It's just things are tightening up like crazy, and it's going to be 24 games left. It's going to be a battle right to the finish now.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
feel it.
It's going to be a real race right to the end of the line, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and I think for the Leafs, just kind of like a closing statement before we move on. We all know they've shown signs of regression, but this is that time when they need to leave that in the past, and they need to get on their horse right now, and they need to start dominating.
Or not.
Match.
Yeah, or they don't have to, or they could just not dominate,
or they can just be out of the playoffs.
But yeah, exactly.
Just really the destiny's in their hand.
Yeah, and just to kind of wrap it up, like it's very evident to see that a team plays for Jack Campbell. You can just see that whenever he's in the net, they just for whatever reason they just go all out for him, and I don't know, it's like they get this whole new sense of urgency and maybe even calmness when he's there. I don't know why. It's just how it is. There's just some goalies who have that kind of effect that they kind of just calm things down, and Jack Campbell has that effect for them. So he's getting a run now. He's getting his shot, and hopefully this team in front of him is going to help him out. Like he's going to come up with the saves, but now they got their so-called guy in net, the guy they like. And I'm not saying they don't like Fred. I'm just saying like, they feel comfortable with them. So let's see. Maybe that's that calmingness that they needed to go on this last little stretch.
100%.
Yeah. So let's see what happens. But anyways, so now we're going to move on to our mid-season NHL award winners. So I guess we're going to just do the main awards: Hart Trophy, Rocco Richard, Art Ross, and Vezina. So if we have to look at the Hart Trophy, which is for the MVP, Francesco, who do you got?
I think it's no secret to say that it has to be Connor McDavid.
It has to be.
He has to be the Hart and winner every single year. As long as Edmonton continuously, like, even if they don't make the playoffs, well, it's more so always if they make the playoffs, he's the MVP.
But there's no question. Yeah, this season, like I picked Connor McDavid as well. This season, especially, like, doesn't matter what team he's on. The guy has 60 points in 34 games. You can't
21 goals, 39 assists. Now, there are two special considerations that I have. But I do think it's McDavid. Yeah. But my two special considerations are Patrick Kane and Alexander Barkov.
Kane has 42 points.
Exactly. And Chicago, we thought they were going to be absolutely garbage this year. And they're actually fifth in the division. They're not doing too bad. They're having a better season.
Who does Barkov play for again?
Florida.
I don't know why I thought he was with the app.
No. But, and like Stefan was just about to say, Jonathan Taves has been out for the whole year. Yeah. He's been gone. And Patrick Kane, after, the Chicago Blackhawks have been a little bit of a demise, and last year was pretty much the tipping point of that. They were extremely bad. Yeah. The playoffs, the bubble kind of made things a little bit better than what it was. Like it kind of came at a stop for them. It kind of helped them out. But losing Corey Crawford, no Jonathan Taves, Patrick Kane has put the team on his back and has been absolutely performing.
At 32.
Exactly, at 32. He's a special one. And then just to give Barkov some credit as well too, 37 points. 13 goals, 24 assists. Florida, for the last year as well, we thought, what the heck happened? They went out big and got Bob in the offseason, giving him that $10 million contract, and he absolutely laid a goose egg. And, they got Quinville, and everyone was saying, okay, this could be the sign. They could be on the up again, and they just laid flat. And now this year, they're second in the division, and they are on an absolute heater right now. So those are my two special considerations, but I think the MVP has to go to Connor McDavid.
I think that's unanimous amongst the three of us.
Yeah. So next one, Rocco Richard. I'll start first on this one. So I picked Connor McDavid as well because he has 21 goals, tied with Austin Matthews right now. I think McDavid is determined to win a Rocco Richard because he hasn't added that to his resume yet.
Collection,
and he's a great goal scorer. He's honestly a very underrated goal scorer. We all know McDavid as that playmaker, but he can score goals too. And I just right now, something with Matthews, like he doesn't look like the same player right now. Could he become that player again and start lighting the league up again? Yes, but right now it just seems like that lingering wrist injury is it's still there, and he's not scoring at the same pace, and I'm just not 100% confident he's going to get back on that pace this season. So I'm going to pick Connor McDavid. But another outside consideration I had was Alexander Ovechkin, and I know he's only got 14 goals right now, but lately the last 10 games he's been on a heater, and we all know how Ovechkin can score. This guy can score 20 goals in 10 games just like nothing.
Mm-hmm. Now he's a real outside consideration, but I went with Sir Austin Matthews.
Ooh.
Yeah, and it's a good choice.
Now, the reason why is, like you said, he has tailed off with the wrist injury. He has been a little bit shaky. He was dominating early on. He was scoring legit a goal a game, and for a solid, I think it was like 11 or 12 games he was. So it was unbelievable streak, and then he slowly tailed off. As Stefan said, he's 21 goals, tied with Connor McDavid. But I think that he's going to edge it out because I need to pull up my in-depth stats, but they're insane. Since 2009 and 10, you know who leads the league in goals per like 5-on-5 goals scored? Austin Matthews.
Yeah.
He averages a goal every 1 point. He averages 1.55 goals per 60 minutes.
Yeah.
And he leads the league. And he's only been in the
nuts.
league for the last 4 years.
Yeah. And is since when?
2009 and 10.
Oh my God.
And just to, second is Ovechkin, third is Pasternak, and Connor McDavid is 10th. So as incredible as Connor McDavid is and the goal scoring capabilities that he has, it just goes to show you how much of an offensive threat Austin Matthews is when he's healthy. And this is not just power play. This is 5v5, even strength goals. He leads the league. So he's my shout.
That's nuts.
Yeah, so next one we're going on to is Art Ross. Most points. I think this one is obvious. Connor McDavid.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you could have honestly, for the first three, just picked Connor McDavid, and you know what? No one's going to really bat an eye for that.
It's a solid guy.
He's got 60 points. He's 10 points ahead of second place Draisaitl, 18 points ahead of third place Patrick Kane. So, like, nobody's catching him. He's insane. He's the greatest hockey player, arguably the greatest hockey player who's ever lived. Connor McDavid.
Again, you could maybe make the argument, for most points could go to Leon Draisaitl if he all of a sudden turns it up, which we know he can. He's only 10 points off. That's, that is a pretty substantial margin. But when you're Draisaitl and you're playing alongside with McDavid, you could all of a sudden rack up some more points. Yeah. Exactly. And last year, Draisaitl was the real driving force for the Oilers. He had he won last year, I believe it or not. He won an award last year.
He was close. I remember he was close to.
I think he did win.
Yeah.
But anyways, while you check that, we'll just move on to the Vezina quickly before we end the segment and go to commercial breaks.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think Carey Price wins.
No, that's definitely not. All right.
Keep fine, Freddie Anderson.
I'll go first since Francesco's looking up that stat.
Just to clarify that. So he won the Art Ross in 2020. The Ted Lindsay in 2020, the Hart Memorial Trophy in 2020.
So he won everything.
So he cleaned up last year.
All right, so Vezina. Moving on to that, I had Andrei Vasilevsky for the Vezina. 933 save percentage, 1.86 GAA, 3 shutouts. Tampa Bay's, still a juggernaut in the league. I think Andrei Vasilevsky is one of the biggest reasons why they won the Cup and why they're still dominating. He's a great goalie, hard to argue with.
Fair. That's a good shout. Adam, did you want to go or do you want me to go first?
Ladies first, go ahead.
Ladies first, thanks. Well, mine's a little bit of an outside contender. It might be a little bit interesting, but it's Peter Marazzic. Now, Carolina is in a playoff position. Marazzic has only played 4 games. Yes.
No, he can't win Vezina if he's played 4 games.
I know. But if you look at his numbers alone, he's got a 0.99 goals against average and a 9.55 save percentage.
Jack Campbell's played 4 games. Maybe he should be up for the Vezina too.
Hey, yes. Okay, that's my pure like standings, like stats wise guess. But my special consideration, and again, this is pretty much of an outside shot, is Thatcher Demko for the Canucks. If they end up making a push for the playoffs, like Stefan you talked about, they very much could. Right now, he's at a 9.21 save percentage and a 2.66 goals against average. Not too bad considering where the Canucks have been. And while everyone's thought that Braden Holtby was going to come and steal the job, Demko has shown up. And if they make the playoffs, I think he's pretty much the sole reason why they're going to be there. And he has a shot at winning the Vezina.
Yeah, no, it's a good choice. Yeah, he's been unbelievable, and the only reason Vancouver is even in the playoff race right now.
Now, Adam, let's see. Who do you think?
Well, I was originally thinking Vasilevsky, but then when you look a little, it's hard, right? Because statistically speaking, you could go with I always mess up the guy's name, Grubauer.
Yes, Philip Grubauer on the Avs.
Yeah, Yeah, but you know what? Just given pedigree, and I know that when they like to give out awards, it might not necessarily be the guy at the top. They usually could go with the second if the team does better. I think Tampa's going to do better, and I think Vasilevsky wins it over Grubauer.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
And to give a shout too, Grubauer leads the league in shutouts with 5, so that's not a bad.
Yeah, he's no slouch. But anyways, let's go to break now. Then after the break, we're going to talk about the Toronto Raptors. We're going to get into that train wreck. It doesn't look good to be a Raptors fan right now. It's really tough, but we'll get into it after the break here on After the Whistle. Stay tuned.
Hacienda Santa Teresa, un típico restaurante mexicano en el corazón de Bradford, Ontario. Porque visitar la Hacienda Santa Teresa es estar en México. Visítanos para tener el gusto de atenderte.
Back here on After the Whistle. So like we said before the break, the Toronto Raptors stink. They've lost 8 straight games, and it just keeps getting worse. What is going on with this team? Is the season 100% over now?
Oh, I think yes. I think it is.
Yeah.
You know what?
There's a boatload of excuses, but still.
Exactly. But if we're being honest, if this was a year to ever blame it on excuses, it would be this year. Everything that could have gone wrong for this team happened. It literally all went downhill. And just when they started to pick up their game and really start to make a push, COVID. I think before the COVID break, I think they were 6th or something, or even maybe 7th. Yeah. They were in that top playoff spot, and we all said on the show, wow, they're actually in a playoff spot. They're not even in the play-in round. They're in a playoff spot.
Yeah.
COVID hits, their starters go out, and it's just ever since then it's been a free fall. Now they're 10th, and they're 2 games behind. They're not even. They're 2 games behind 10th, which is Chicago. Oof. So it's really tough. It's really tough to watch.
8 straight, and tonight they're playing the Houston Rockets, who have lost 20 straight games since losing games. So this is the battle of the worst tonight. And if the Raptors lose tonight, they are at the official rock bottom of the season.
It's like losing to the Buffalo Sabres right now.
It's like losing to the Sabres, who I don't even know what the score is in that game right now, but I'm curious now that you mention it.
I can take a look for you guys.
They've lost 13 straight games, and they are down 2-1. So it looks like it might be 14 tonight.
And the thing is about tonight's game, too, is you just know that Houston is eventually going to win one, and you just pray to God it's not against your team.
I know. But you know what? This is the Raptors. They need to get this one tonight. I know you're saying it's over, but if you look at the standings, they're 2.5 games back of 8th place, so that's not insurmountable. If they can pull together a one final run in this last stretch of the season, they could probably slip into the quad. But their argument is, would they want to do that? What's the benefit of that?
That's the point, and we've had that conversation earlier. Is that you have to really assess this team, and even Nick Nurse was saying that this team deserves a push, and what he's pretty much saying is that this team deserves to have a trade done for them because of the work that they've done for the last 3-4 years, and just the team and the history that they have that deserve that chance. Right. But if you're Masai and you're Bobby Webster, you're looking at this team going, am I really going to waste trading away a first to get rinsed in the first round? Is that really what we're going to do here?
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, but it looks like right now. So Masai has come out and said that he's not going to trade, or it was just reports that surfaced that they're not going to be trading Kyle Lowry before the end of the season. So
they're let him walk. Basically.
They're trying to make a run for the playoffs. Does that because to me that makes it seem like Masai's not ready to just say give up, let's tank, right?
Yeah, but I think that's also a little bit more of even our resident PR worker could attest to that. This is more of a PR move where if you say that yes, you're interested, the value goes down.
Yeah, and that's true. It's true.
Value because teams know you're trying to move them. Realistically, teams probably already know that you are looking to move them, but you have to say all the right words because that, inevitably will determine the stock of a player.
Yeah.
So if you're very adamant that you're not going to move them and then teams still come in with an offer, then you still hold a little bit of power and you still hold the cards a little bit where you can kind of dictate what you can ask for.
Yeah.
Now, whether or not they should trade Kyle Lowry and just do right by him, that's a different story. I think if you're if you're upper management, you're probably in those conversations with Kyle every single day. Just kind of
if you listen to Lowry right now, like he said in an interview yesterday, like he still believes that they could make the playoffs and actually do something.
Yeah, well, you can believe whatever you want, but at the end of the day, you got to face the facts. And they like we said right at the beginning of the segment, they stink. So if I'm the GM, if I'm Masai, if I'm any person on this team, I'm strongly suggesting, if not already, selling off your assets.
So I guess the question is if they don't move Lowry at the deadline, is it the wrong move in your guys' opinion?
Yes.
Well, no, that I wouldn't say it's the wrong move, because that's one part of the question. Are you holding on to Norm Powell? Are you trading him as well?
Yeah, but that would be the next question. That was my next question.
Yeah. Well, the reports are already that Norman Powell has been told to be prepared to pack his bags at any given moment.
Yeah.
So
but what I mean is, my point being was that question needs to involve both of them. I don't think you can make a distinguished answer without having both of them in the conversation. Now, if they, I don't know, I think Norm Powell's gone, and then if you trade him, then I don't think moving Kyle Lowry was the wrong thing, because at the current value, probably Norm's going to get you a little bit more in return, just in the fact that he's younger. He's having a career year, so he can maybe get you a little bit more. And also, right now, he's an expiring contract. He's relatively cheap. And with Kyle Lowry, you're probably going to get a pick and maybe a prospect back. And when I say prospect, I mean like a rookie, someone on a rookie deal, because I don't know if you're going to want to take an expiring contract just to see out the year, then you're not going to sign them. I think if you're the Raptors, you're looking to get a pick back and a rookie who's under contract for a little bit, and you can maybe work with and see. But I don't know. It's every show we come on and we pretty much do the same roundabout and talk about the same things. But it's literally it's a tough spot to be in. We said it last time. They're legit looking at the map, and there's 6 different roads that they can go down, and I don't know which one is the right answer.
Yeah, and it's just because it's such a weird season too, because like I said before, you look at the standings, and the team that's in 4th place in the conference is only 2 games above 500. So you're thinking like, oh my God, the East is terrible this year. There's still, it's like you've been really bad, but you still have a chance. So that's what makes it a much harder job for Masai Ujiri.
Yeah, because you're looking at salvaging this year, but also you're looking at maybe setting yourself up for success in the next year and the year after that. Like, you have to balance that.
Yeah, it's a franchise. It's not a single year game.
It's time to reset for the franchise. It's time to move on and just kind of move away from those players that brought them the championship, and just, usher in the next generation of Toronto Raptors.
Time to be boring for a little bit, come back stronger.
Not even being boring, but the team is the future of this team is Fred. As much as we like to criticize Pascal and OG Anunoby, that's the future of this team. That's the core. So you got to start moving in that direction. And also, all 3 of them were involved in championship winning side. So they already have that experience and they have that pedigree. It's not like you're starting over with nothing. You're starting over with 3 pillars of your team.
Yeah.
And honestly, as Raptors fans, would we be upset if this year was, this year has been terrible, but if we miss out on the playoffs? No. I think Raptors fans, we can die happy knowing that we won at least one.
Well, I'd rather live a little longer, but
right, yes. But what I mean is that we've been very lucky. We've been very blessed with how well they performed in the playoffs for the last 6
for a long time.
Exactly. They've been a competitive team, and they got the chip. So honestly, there's not much else for this team to do. They did what any franchise could aspire to do.
Yeah. So if we look at this season, there's 30 games left, and you would think at the very least for the Raptors to even make that push for the playoffs, they'd probably have to go 20-10 in the next 30 games. So they're 8 games below 500 right now. That would put them 2 games above, and that would definitely get them in, maybe in a 5th or 6th spot. But I mean, I guess at the very least they would have to win. They'd have to win 18, go 18-12 at the very least.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think it's possible. Just on the fact that, like we said, and then we'll wrap it up, they were on such a bender and such a high before COVID hit. Yeah. And COVID decimated the team, and now just some of their starters are coming back. It takes them. Granted, they're training; they're not able to do nothing, but that rhythm has been completely thrown off. And now, granted, you're in a bad rhythm, but your players that have been fighting day in, day out for the last 2 weeks have been in this rhythm. Now you're adding the rest of the team back into this rhythm. They're trying to change it. So there's just too many different things smashing against each other right now, and I don't think it's going to even out in fast enough time.
Yeah, no, that's true. No, I agree with that too. I don't think it's going to happen either, but I'm just kind of laying out what they would need to do if they wanted to make it happen.
Exactly. If this would have happened, if this COVID stretch would have happened maybe even in December, then I would have even given them a shot. But like, you know what? You have
Yeah, or if this was a regular season and they had 10 extra games.
Exactly.
100%. But
it's gonna take you at least, you would argue, 4-5 games to kind of get everyone back into the swing of being together as a collective. Yeah. And what if you go 2-3 already? That just, it's already off to a bad start.
Yeah, it doesn't look good if you're a Toronto Raptors fan, but it doesn't look that great if you're a Jays fan either. I don't know. It depends on how you look at the situation, but I'll let Adam kind of take that away with Inside the Batter's Box.
Inside the Batter's Box.
Guys, we have music now.
The unofficial tagline.
Every show, I'm gonna find a new jingle.
A new little thing. I'm down. That sounds great. Yeah. Welcome, guys, inside my batter's box. As Stefan said, Toronto Blue Jays, mixed reviews, mixed bag over the weekend. So we learned that Nate Pearson, his injury is going to linger, and it'll probably leak into the beginning of the season. Francesco called it. We also learned that Thomas Hatch, who was fighting for a position possibly as a long man in the bullpen, mid-relief kind of guy, not a super high leverage role, but he suffered in some kind of bodily strain. I already forgot what it is. It's not super important, so we're going to kind of gloss over that one. But he's hurt as well in terms of our pitching depth. And now it was announced that Kirby Yates, after pitching to the Yankees, has hurt himself as well. So, like I said, mixed bag when it comes to I'm going to share some good stuff, obviously. I'm not the bearer of horrible news all the time. I always like to see things glass half full. So, but unfortunately, we're leading off in the batter's box, pun intended, with the bad stuff. In terms of the good stuff, the Jays are doing, again, this is spring training, so take it with a grain of salt, but they are, in terms of the teams that have played the same amount of games as them in the Florida League, they have the third best record. They're also winning tonight as well. And the sixth, Bo Bichette just hit a single and brought in an RBI. But coming into tonight's game that's currently live right now, the Jays have the best run differential in all of Major League Baseball. Let that one sink in. Yeah. They came into this game with a plus 28 run differential.
Wow.
Other notable teams, the Yankees plus 12, and the Dodgers plus 20.
Wow.
So just to give you guys an example, and they're third in the Florida League. Let's not count. They'd be fourth if you counted Miami, but Miami hasn't played enough games because they keep having to isolate, so that doesn't really count. But yeah, not Yankees. Blue Jays playing really well. Marcus Semien hit his first home run as a Blue Jay in spring training. Great game that he had. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. went into the weekend batting 600. Okay, hello.
Jesus.
Wow. 600.
Yeah, no, if there were awards for batting in spring training, Vladimir Guerrero would win all. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. would be the Connor McDavid of spring training awards if there were any.
So wait, he's batting 600?
I don't know what his current batting average is after the weekend, but coming into the weekend, it was 600, yeah.
I was going to say, is that how much his diet is now? Like, he's only allowed 600 calories? Or like,
I don't know. Well, he lost 42 pounds coming into the season.
I don't think you could live off that.
Yeah, but no, for real, especially as an athlete. But no, George Springer played really well. He almost took Garrett Cole deep in his first at-bat against him.
Wow.
Yeah, honestly, guys, I keep saying it, but the numbers are there to support it. The Jays are playing a mix of teams. They're not playing like the super high popular, whatever. Like they're playing the cornflake mixed bag kind of deal. Like they got the Yankees.
Well, it's spring.
What's that?
It's spring training.
Yes, but also you got to consider as well, because of COVID, they're playing a preset group of teams. So they're not going to play the same amount of Florida teams that they normally would. So they're not going to play Boston. They're not going to play other teams based in Florida. So they're going to play the Yankees. They're going to play the Phillies, who are a good team. They're playing Detroit tonight. Detroit is absolute hot trash.
I think they're down 3-1 right now to Detroit.
The Jays?
Yeah.
They just tied it.
They just tied it.
Yeah.
I was looking at 3-1.
Yeah,
Okay. No. I was because you were saying they're playing tonight. They're playing right now, literally.
Yeah. So Marcus Semien actually got a double to bring them within one, and Bo Bichette singled and tied the game.
Nice.
But yeah, no, the guys you're expecting to produce are producing. Like I said, they've been running a very solid lineup for most of spring training. They just assigned a bunch of their guys who weren't going to make the roster anyway back to the minor leagues. Give their guys some more time to prep now because the season starts in a couple weeks. The season starts on April 1st. So it's coming. It's coming quick.
It's going to be interesting, too, because the Jays, they're going to be playing in Dallas, I believe, in Texas.
Dunedin.
No, but aren't they going on a road trip?
Oh, yeah, they are. And they're going to be playing in Texas in a
100% capacity arena.
Yeah.
Fields. Sorry.
So that's going to be really interesting. And I'm excited to see that. That is going to feel weird. And even
I'm going to watch that. You know what? We haven't seen any sports that has a full stadium.
I hope you guys watch it because that's going to be interesting. Even the Yankees are going to have, I think, 20% capacity, and all guests are going to be expected. And that's in New York. And
but you're really going to see what we've been missing when you see that game in Texas.
Oh yeah, because that Texas stadium is going to be sold out almost every game. First of all, Texas just opened that stadium. It was brand new last year, and no one got to really go. Now they hosted the World Series there because it was the new stadium. They said, okay, well, might as well use it for something. That's what Major League Baseball said. But I don't want to be fully celebrated. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Now, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news and kind of burst out of his bubble, but let's get back to a little bit of the bad.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the issues now already with the pitching depth. And I know it's spring training, but the fact that the Jays have had to dip so deep already into the pitching depth right now is a little bit worrisome. And we talked about Nate Pearson even last show, and I said that I have question marks just on the fact that if he could stay healthy. Proven enough, he got hurt again. And now Kirby Yates going on, and everybody that you mentioned. Like, how do you feel going into the start of the season now with this bullpen?
So with the bullpen, I mean, I already felt like the bullpen was going to overachieve. The Jays have been doing that quietly for the past couple of years. So since the end of their sort of double playoff run there in 15-16, like where they're actual contenders, they've been grabbing reclamation projects, guys who have been good, kind of dipped, and using their above average pitching coaching staff to revitalize those guys and flip them at the trade deadline if they weren't competing. So I think the Jays bullpen is going to be okay. We got Jordan Romano in the back end, highly underrated, and he'll be able to fill in. Rafael Dolis picked it up last year as well at the tail end of the bullpen. So I think they'll be able to hold it off until Kirby Yates comes back, barring any setbacks. Mm-hmm. Where I am concerned and have been for a while is the starting rotation. We didn't need to pick up Marcus Semien. I'm super hyped about having Marcus Semien. He's an amazing player. 2019, he was a finalist for an MVP award. The guy is great. But at the same time, $18 million for 1 year gets you Taijuan Walker back, gets you James Paxton probably on a 1-year deal, gets you a lot of guys who would have solved the problem for you. Yeah. So, it's like, because then you look at Ryu, Taijuan Walker, James Paxton, whatever, one of those kinds of guys, Jake Odorizzi, and then Nate Pearson at 3. If Nate Pearson as the third guy goes down, that's not that big of an issue. Nate Pearson as your number 2, that's a problem. So,
sorry, that's all. I didn't mean to. That's, I guess, my fault. When I meant the bullpen, I meant the pitching staff as a whole. So that's my fault. I didn't frame that properly, but you went through both of them, which was nice. Thank you. But that was my real issue. Is like, how do you feel over? And as you just answered, is that like the Jays could have done a lot differently with the whole starting rotation in general. And now with these injuries that are coming out, you're starting to see that they're already going to be tested. They're already up against it now. And this is a team that even last year we talked about. They were doing a lot of tricks and maneuvers to kind of utilize every pitcher that they had, the starting rotation and the bullpen. They were doing some pretty unique things, and it seems like they might have to go back to that to start the year.
They might need to. And you know what? A lot of people are saying, too, that there is a little bit – I mean, I don't like using cap because there isn't a cap in baseball, but there's a tax cap. But people were saying the Jays did save some money to potentially bring on a contract at the trade deadline. I think what they were hoping was – injuries are going to happen, especially in a commodity like pitching, but you just pray to God that it's not going to happen before the season starts, and unfortunately it did. So, and you know what? We're lucky that Steven Matz has stepped up. He has been absolute lights out. I think he just allowed his first earned run of spring training this weekend. So the guy we picked up from the Mets, for people who aren't aware, he's been very good so far, overperforming. And again, we know the Blue Jays pitching coaches over-deliver and have a tendency to revitalize people's careers. But, that's going to run out eventually. He's going to get tanked. Tanner Roark absolutely sucked against the Yankees. It's a new spring training rule. I don't know if anyone was aware of it. You could take out your starter and put him back in later on to get more reps. They did that for Tanner Roark, and he got tanked twice. So,
My goodness.
And they did it to the Yankee, like the heart of the Yankees lineup. So they brought him in to face the beginning of the order, took him out, let a younger guy come in, face the bottom of the order, a little bit less stress, then brought him back to face him again and get absolutely wrecked again. So he allowed 7 earned runs. So, and he's our 5th starter. So guys, like after 3, 4, Tanner Roark, like they overpaid for him. He made a career out of being mediocre. So
Adam,
I'm not excited about that rotation.
As our resident baseball expert and baseball player,
yes,
I know you weren't a pitcher, but how mad are you if you're Roark? If you got tanked already once, and they throw you back in. Are you absolutely livid with Montoya for throwing you back in there?
No, because of spring training. So
actually,
you know that he's the 5th starter. He's the guy, like 5th starter. He is not going to go and get a 2 ERA. If he gets us a 4 ERA, I'll be ecstatic.
Fair.
So all I'm expecting is he goes out, gets a 4 ERA, and eats 5 innings. At least. We know Montoya likes to play around with his bullpen. That's another conversation. And it gets me fired up, and we don't have enough time. So, fine. But there's not enough time in a day for me to tell you about how upsetting that is. But he's a guy who's made a career of being mediocre. If he gets a 4 ERA, eats 5, 6 innings out of a game and turns it over to the bullpen, and the Jays have put up some runs and we're still competing in that game, I'm excited. I'm happy. We're good to go. But it's spring training, and you wanted to put him against the best and see what happens, because the Yankees were playing Aaron Judge. They were playing some top-of-the-line guys, and it wasn't up to it that day.
Yep.
All
right. A week and a half until the season opens on April 1st.
Yeah.
And just before we sign off tonight, guys, just gonna give you a little bit of a recap of games to look out for. So we got the Raptors in action tonight against Houston Rockets. One of those teams are going to break their slumps. Will it be the Raptors or will it be the Rockets? And we got the Leafs back in action on Thursday against the Ottawa Senators. And we all know how the Senators have given the Leafs a hard time as of late. So should be an interesting game. And then the Leafs have a back-to-back with Edmonton on the weekend, and then a back-to-back with Winnipeg. So it doesn't get easier from here on in for the Leafs. And then also we've got NCAA March Madness going on. I don't know if you guys picked a bracket this year. Do you guys usually do that or not?
No, I do not.
I just live for the upsets.
Yeah. It's just there's too many teams. It's so hard to win it because obviously there's so many outcomes.
Too much. It's too much.
I'd be lying to myself if I said that I don't know enough to follow it, and it's too many teams. Funny enough, and then we'll wrap up, is that my sister actually in one of her classes for high school, they're doing the teacher's making them do a little draft just for fun. And at the end of the first round, my sister's in the lead, and she knows nothing about. She literally picked teams because of their names and how funny they sounded, and she's in first right now with the most points. So
you know what? Sometimes that's better than being educated on it,
right?
Who is the competition with? Like, who is she? Is it just like
in her class? In her
class. Okay.
Yeah, just like a fun little thing to do.
She should have entered the ones where, like, if you get a perfect bracket, you win like $1 billion.
Dude, if she wins this school bracket, you know how mad I'm gonna be.
I know. I can't even imagine. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching After the Whistle. Hopefully, if you guys have an NCAA bracket, well, good luck. I mean, it's not easy to win, so good luck. And we'll see you next week on here on After the Whistle here on Genesis 360 next Monday, 8 p.m. Tune in to After the Whistle. We'll see you then. Okay.
Perfect.
Thanks, Arturo. Okay.
All right.
Well,
Perfect.
okay, we'll let you know.
I definitely will not.
Yeah, Adam's going to be online for the next, I don't know
weeks,
how long.
yeah.
I think 2. I think the next
Yeah,
2.
you have a couple weeks. Yeah.
The next 2 I'm going to need to be online.
Yeah, well, I'll let you know about Francesco and I closer to next Monday.
Okay.
And then see you then. All right, have a good night. Later, boys.
Gentlemen,
Thank you. See you, lads.
ciao for now.